Talofa lava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susanna Swiswiki. Coming up, Vanuatu's opposition leader asks which is more important, stability or democracy.
What if stability results in corruption? Well, where do we go from there? Do we just wait until the next general elections?
Also, Pacific content creators win big at the TikTok Awards, and we end the week off with our Pacific News Wrap. Vanuatu's opposition leader is fighting the Speaker's ruling, denying a no-confidence motion his bloc filed against the Prime Minister. Alatoi Ishmael Kausakau is accusing the government of being lazy. Lydia Lewis spoke with him ahead of the next Supreme Court hearing.
Mr Kausakau is willing to put political stability on the line again.
What do we really want as a country? Do we want stability or do we want democracy?
He's one of the 5 prime ministers Vanuatu has had in just 4 years. The chronic political instability led to constitutional amendments aimed at curbing party hopping.
But that isn't a cause for government to become lazy and not to fulfil its responsibilities to the people.
Now in opposition, his bloc has filed a motion of no confidence in Prime Minister Jotham Napat.
We believe that as an alternative government, we're in a better position.
The motion is now stalled, with the Speaker ruling it not in order, something Mr Kausakau disagrees with. So he's taken the matter to the Supreme Court. His reasoning, the government has failed to end the teachers' strike and lacks transparency over a passport inquiry report, among other concerns.
Pacific content creators have claimed some of the biggest prizes at this year's Trans-Tasman TikTok Awards. Proud Tongan and father of 3, Eli Matangi, who goes by the handle Javier676, is the first Pasifika person to win Content Creator of the Year. Joining me is our social media journalist, Coco Lance. Kia ora, Coco. For anyone who doesn't follow TikTok, what are the TikTok Awards all about?
Kia ora, Sana. So, for those who absolutely don't know anything, TikTok itself is a really popular social media platform where you can share videos and content. And so the TikTok Awards are basically the big night where the most popular creators on this app, and in this case specifically from across Australia and Aotearoa, get recognised, whether that be for, being funny, creative or inspiring, or just keeping things real. So it kind of celebrates all of the best content and the people behind it with this big awards night. And this year felt extra special because Māori and Pacifica creators really showed up and they really dominated in the ranks of popularity, which has been really, really awesome to see for our communities.
Who walked away with the biggest wins, especially from our Māori and Pasifika communities?
Yeah, well, there were big names everywhere, of course, as you can expect with an event like that. But the top prize of the night went to a Tongan creator, Eli Matangi, which is a huge achievement for an event of this calibre as well. So on top of that, Louis Davis, who is a Māori creator from Aotearoa, he won New Zealand Creator of the Year. And then very multi-talented dancer, artist, Lance Savale won Music Artist of the Year. And then amongst the crowd, there were other Kiwi creators like Theo Shakes, who won Entertainment Creative of the Year. So all in all, it was a very, very successful night for our Pacific, Māori, and then, of course, Kiwi talent.
Some great Pasifika and Māori talent there. I guess on that note, what makes Eli Matangi, aka Javier676, win feel so special?
Well, I think for lots of our Pacific talent and communities across the whole board, he's the first Pacific creator to win this award, which I guess is one of the most important things to note. And I think his win feels like a milestone because of the premise of the content that he creates, which is all about family. And of course, family is central to Pacific cultures. He's all about humour, showing and sharing his culture with his family and his kids and his audience. And I think it sends a message that our Pacific voices, stories, humour, that all belongs on the biggest stages alongside this variety of multicultural talent. He's a really humble guy. He's about the representation. And I think overall it's just really invigorating for that representation.
And what about Louis Davis and Lance Savali? Why did their wins resonate so much?
Louis, I guess, he's just that warm, funny Māori dad that everybody wishes they knew and is so happy for in terms of the success of both himself and his wife and their content. And his videos are focused on that too, I guess. So loving and doting on his wife and kids. There's lots of videos of him, gathering that kai moana. He's done some collabs with Jason Momoa. So I think, again, those central themes of whānau and culture really resonate with our Pacific and Māori audiences specifically. And then there's Lance, of course, who's well known to be a creative force. He dances, he DJs, he performs, and he lives and breathes his Samoan identity with pride. And I think that kind of, again, shows other Pacific creators and audiences that there is no need to be one-dimensional. You can do and be whatever you want, which is awesome. And to see that celebrated on such a public, renowned social stage is really, really awesome.
Now, for a quick look at stories making headlines around the region, I'm joined by our editor, Koroi Hawkins. Hello, Koroi. Let's start in Tahiti. We've had some sad news this week.
Hello, Leusana. Yes, some terribly sad news indeed out of Tahiti. A major landslide in Awhahiti Taravao on the main French Polynesian island of Tahiti resulted in a final toll of 8 retrieved bodies. The disaster struck several houses early on Wednesday morning local time. For the search operations and victims, they lasted over 24 hours, involving approximately 200 emergency staff, military personnel, sniffer dogs, drones and specialized equipment like underground cameras. The efforts were hampered by further landslides and mountain collapses due to accumulated water from days of torrential rains. One of the victims confirmed is a 3-year-old girl. The government response, an investigation in French Polynesia, President Martai Brotherson activated a medico-psychological assistance unit to support the local population. President Brotherson noted that while some of the affected houses were over 40 years old, the tragedy highlights the importance of building rules, stating that current regulations are now stricter. The French High Commissioner, Alexandre Rochatz, announced that an investigation for manslaughter has been launched. The goal to determine the causes of the tragedy and check if the affected buildings and their location met all dwelling and zoning requirements. An ongoing story there. A team of geological experts from Nouméa and Paris is being sent to assess whether the landslide affected zone is secure. Mourning and condolences for the victims. All flags on French Polynesian public buildings are flying at half-mast. Friday's sitting of the Territorial Assembly will include a minute of silence for the victims. Condolences and messages of support have also been received from international figures, including the French President, Emmanuel Macron.
To Vanuatu now, there's a national reconciliation planned, but some leaders are not attending.
Yes, so in Vanuatu, the planned National Forgiveness and Reconciliation Ceremony has sparked some controversy due to the non-invitation of former members of Parliament who lost their seats when the President Nikenike Vorobaramvu dissolved the 13th legislature. The leader of the opposition, Ishmael Kaulsakau, has voiced his concerns in a letter to President Vorobaramvu. He argued that the exclusion of the former MPs who were most affected by the dissolution diminishes the spirit of reconciliation and weighs heavily on the democratic process. The opposition bloc states they are unable to attend the ceremony, citing a lack of face-to-face dialogue to determine the reconciliation process and the absence of the affected former MPs. They believe future reconciliation efforts must be more inclusive and reflect shared values of unity and fairness. The Daily Post is reporting that President Vuro Maravu confirmed that the ceremony has nothing to do with the parliament dissolutions. He clarified that the event was focused solely on forgiving the 19 MPs involved in the attempt to impeach him from the presidency, which the Court of Appeal earlier ruled as invalid. The President has emphasized he's interested in national healing and believes those involved in the invalid impeachment motion should initiate reconciliation. The Office of the President has confirmed the ceremony will go ahead as scheduled tomorrow with chiefs and pastors, regardless of the opposition's decision not to attend.
In Papua New Guinea, some big tech players have been in Port Moresby. What have they been talking about?
Yes, this story from our correspondent in Papua New Guinea, Scott Owaide. Papua New Guinea has recently hosted its third technology summit in Port Moresby, signalling a strong, structured push for nationwide digital reform. This ambitious agenda aims to redefine the country's governance, service delivery and the economy. Some of the key focus and ambition for this is the summit brought together government leaders, global tech giants and policy specialists to discuss implementing artificial intelligence, digital ID systems and government interoperability. Despite challenges like the rugged geography and uneven infrastructure across Papua New Guinea, PNG is pursuing a structured long-term digital transformation agenda that they are backing up with legislation and policy. Prime Minister James Marape highlighted at this meeting that this shift is central to rebuilding trust, saying that ICT will drive us into a merit-based society and a more efficient workforce. Some of the core digital initiatives at the conference was combating corruption, digitization seen as a major tool to curb corruption by replacing opaque manual processes with secure digital audit trails, identity verification, and things like automated workflows. Service Pass, a national digital ID, an emerging system that's central to the Service Pass national ID program. The goal for that was to connect foundational national identification records with other government data to enable citizens to authenticate identities and access services with less friction, replacing the historically siloed and inefficient systems, and also policy and legislative foundation. Over the past 5 years, PNG has established a strong legal framework, including the Digital Transformation Policy 2020, Digital Government Act 2022, Cybersecurity Policy, and Data Governance and Protection Policy. The participation and global interest in the conference was quite high. The summit saw record attendees, almost 1,100 participants, including 300 digital transformation officers who will implement the work at the district and provincial levels. Some international tech giants were present. You had Oracle, Google, AWS, SpaceX, and MuleSoft exploring opportunities in cloud services, connectivity, and digital payments. And PNG's abundant hydro and geothermal resource was given a competitive advantage in the Pacific for attracting energy-intensive data operations. So some of the challenges ahead for Papua New Guinea still, though, implementation faces several hurdles, including uneven internet coverage, stretched public sector capacity, varying digital literacy, and the need to rebuild public trust in government services for the national ID idea that I talked about to succeed. So the overall sentiment is that PNG is entering a defining phase where the digital era will shape not just its economy, but the integrity of its institution. You can read more about that article on the website rnz.co.nz/Pacific.
And finally, back here in Aotearoa, where Solomon Islands Language Week is wrapping up tomorrow, is your community in Wellington doing anything special this year?
Yes, we actually are. So Wellington this year obviously is only the second year that the Solomon Islands communities across Aotearoa have held participated and held the Solomon Islands Pidgin Language Week. So tomorrow on Saturday in Porua, the Wellington Solomon Islands community are hosting community members, guests, dignitaries, and visiting community members as well, as far as Auckland coming down, Palmy, for a celebration for closing of the Solomon Islands Language Week. We have the privilege this year of being the hosts for the national closing for the whole of Aotearoa for our Language Week. So lots of food, lots of talanoa, hopefully a lot of performances. We're hoping to have one talks from the Papua New Guinea and Vanuatu communities there as well. So it should be a fun time, and looking forward to taking part in that. But obviously, a lot of prep and preparing to host everyone from this point into tomorrow afternoon. Susanna, thank you.
Thank you, Tomas. That was our RNZ Pacific editor, Koroi Hawkins, with our Pacific News Wrap. That's Pacific Waves for today. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, look him your whara next time more.